Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. If you've not yet subscribed to our channel, please take a moment to do that now, if you would, because that would be a big help to us all here at Let's Talk. All right, so continuing with Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, we're getting right down to the end. Today we have story number 98 of 100, leaving us just 3 stories. Today's story comes from 1979 and is entitled The Aqueduct. It is a very short story. I would call it a piece of flash fiction, although that term was not in use back in Bradbury's day when he wrote it in 79. Synopsis. For a year, a mother and her kids in the Southlands have watched as a great stone aqueduct has been built across their lands. There's a ton of excitement because today is expected to be the day when it's open and the first water comes rushing down from the north. The aqueduct runs 1,000 miles into the north to a land where there are 2 countries. And those 2 countries have gone to war. A courier from the north has informed them that there's been a huge war. They've shot arrows and thrown swords at each other, and 1 million have died. We don't know what they're fighting over, but all is known that they disagreed, and that word is sort of used very in a key way here. And it'll be seen again later in the story. But then the time has come, they hear the rushing of water in the distance, and they're all excited, and finally it comes flowing down out of the aqueduct to their area. And it's when the children realize that this isn't water at all. It's thick, it's red, and is it in fact blood? The adults seem to totally ignore this fact, although the children are grossed out. A mother gives a child a bar of soap and orders them to bathe. A father and his sons irrigate their rice fields, and the one son says, the father says, if this keeps up, we've got a great life ahead, a full silo and a clean body. The son says, not to worry, the president is sending a representative to the north to make certain that the 2 countries continue to disagree forever, and they think that it could at least be a 50-year war. They sing and smile and sleep soundly in their beds by the gentle sound of the water rushing by down their aqueduct. End scene. That is it. Wow. This is a great little bit of flash fiction. It's not subtle at all or in any way, but it's completely effective and better for it. It's about, obviously, how in war somebody inevitably profits somewhere else. In our world, it's often because they're making the weapons or selling their relief or whatever, or just because the war there prevents some war here, or whatever the case may be. But more to the point, it's about how people can be perfectly okay with it and not sort of question it if it's keeping their family safe and happy and fed and providing them with something to drink and something to irrigate their fields with. No earthly time or country is mentioned. That's sort of intentional here by Bradbury. It's sort of reminiscent of Rome, I would say, although these numbers, 100 million dead, are of course not possible in Roman era, and only possible in our era today probably with nuclear weapons. But as this is Bradbury, I think he's definitely speaking in some way to the Cold War and to the possibility of what would happen if those wars went hot instead of ending. But it's fictional. It's a fictional land. It's timeless. It's going to work forever. It's a 1970. 78 or 79 story, but it remains fresh as can be today. And I think one more point that it comes from this story is, in fact, how it's the children, it's the young in this case, that notice the blood and are sort of put off by it. And whereas oftentimes, it's the adults who they're okay with it. They rationalize it because their family's safe. And I think that's very true to this world as well. 79 was just post Vietnam, but for American involvement. But wars forever. It's the old who sort of start the wars, hold all the power in the halls of power of the nations, but it's the young who are sent off to die, and it's also the young who spearhead the movements that protest these battles and inevitably cause public sentiments to turn and make it so it's no longer acceptable that we ignore the blood and water our fields with it and profit from it because it has to end. So there you are, The Aqueduct from 1979, great little piece of flax fiction, one of the best tales in all of this story as far as all of this collection as far as I'm concerned. So moving right along, be back in a few days with Gotcha from 1978. That is story number 99 of 100 in these stories of Ray Bradbury, which means we have just 2 more stories to go, and we will have read in all and reviewed on this channel 200 Ray Bradbury stories, which I think is an awesome accomplishment. As far as I know, he still has hundreds more stories out there. I've promised in the past to maybe try and track them down too eventually, but no time soon, no timetable for that. It's going to step away from Let's Talk Ray Bradbury for a while to pursue some other interest and to recharge my batteries, but it's been a fun journey, and I'm looking forward to wrapping it up in a couple of days with you, and I hope you will stick around to see what else we have here on Let's Talk. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again very, very soon. See ya.